All right, back on the Camaro here. The floors haven't done anything else since the last video, so there's a double structure here. I think there's another. There's something under there. There's an interior construction, and then I'm gonna cut this out. See what's under it. Cut that out. Cut that out. I know there's a line running under there, so I'll have to be pretty careful, but I'm going to start trimming it back and see what I come up with here. I'll make a few little inspection cuts here, see what's going on. I think this is a double construction over here. Yeah. So see there, that's spot welded to it. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to trim that along and replace that little piece of innard maybe as well. Alright, so I removed this piece of trim here because it was in the way. The seatbelt would not come out. The bolt was stripped and rusted in. I just had to cut it off. I can weld a new mount back in before that's easy. But this is pretty bad up in here, so I'm going to start trimming this away. See what happens. So I got quite a hole going. It's coming along, I guess. This is a little rough right there, but otherwise it's a good solid driver car anyway. But or it'll be good for a solid driver. I'll replace this. I'm gonna patch this up here. I'm gonna put a whole new. I'm gonna leave it, but I'm gonna leave it, but I'm gonna put a whole new patch on over it, and then I'll patch it again with the floor here. So I'll tie it into the rocker here, tie it into the existing floor. Probably drill some holes and spot weld it into that as well. And then tie it back into this new floor and then tie it up there so it'll all be tight. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to clean up a lot of this area so I can start welding it back in. Trimmed off most of everything I want to trim. I'm just going to take a clean wheel here and start cleaning it up and then cut some patches. So I got my little patch measured out for the inner construction. I'm going to use my shear. This thing is awesome. I love this shear. It's Brown and Boggs. But you line up where you want and you just kick down on the foot pedal. Kind of like that. Like that, you hold it. A nice clean cut. Little collector piece. So I got another line here I want to cut. Probably needs a sharpen. This thing's really old. But it gives you a nice clean cut. So this is going to be for the inner construction. So I'm going to bend a 90 up there so I can tie it in, just a small 90, and then the top piece will have a higher 90, I guess, so I can weld again into it. And I will probably trim this around and bang it down, just trim some of it out, and then bang the lip down over so I can tie it into this floor here. Or I guess I don't really have to. I could tie it back into there, but that's going to be the inner construction part. And I'm going to drill some holes here, and I'm going to try and tie it back into this little bit of rusty metal. Anyway, something like that is what I'm talking about. So I'm going to make a template here. You just push in on where the metal is, and it's going to give you a pretty good indication on where to cut. So you can see the line. So what I want to do, I was going to fold the metal over, but I think for my patch, I'm going to try to stick it to this along here, tie it into here, and then I'll put my floor over it, and I'll tie my new floor pan to this. So again, I just put a little tiny break in the metal, just a small lip so I can weld to the inside sill there. So I get that welded into there. I'm going to trace this onto here, cut it out, and then I should be okay to weld it in. Alright, so I got my piece kind of made up. I got it bent. I put some holes in it. It's a really nice piece of metal there. So I'm going to try to, I know I was going to try to bend over this and bend it down, but I think I'm going to stuff it right in there. Like that. Like that. Leave a gap here to weld to. I'll push that down, plug weld those back into that inner construction. I will then weld the seam, and then I will bang the lip over and weld it to the inner sill. Weld along, bang this down and weld it in, or trim it and weld it. And then I'm going to put another hole, cover this again with a piece of the floor. So that's the plan. So it's coming along. I got it welded in. You can see here as you tack it, bend it, as you hit it in, it bends, and then you can tack it. You tack it where it's tight. Then you continue hammering. Stretches the metal down, holds it for you, so you can keep hammering. Nice and tight along there. I didn't get a good clean surface there, but you get the idea. Alright, so I've kind of got that welded in, spatter welded. It's not a very good, I'm going to hit it a few more times and then grind it and then make the other patch to go right over this whole thing, hopefully. Okay, so I was going to do the whole floor pan here, but I kind of split it into two because it's just too much curves. This is going to have to go this way and that way. This one wanted to stay straight, so I also didn't end up doing a 90 there. Because I put a 90 on the other one, I just butted that in. I'm going to weld that across. I tied this, is the upper floor, into this inner construction. I tied it in there, tied it back in to the floor pan here. I still got to make this just a little patch there where I came up short, but I'm going to slice this and bang it down just to wrap it around and give me some more cleaner welding surface down in here. So that's 16 gauge and that's pretty solid. Way thicker than the metal I think that was in there because it seemed pretty thin. So yeah, I'm going to start slicing that and beating it around and then try to fit that piece in. Actually, I might just try to beat it around and see how far I can get it without slicing it. Yeah, it's going. It's bending. Just need a big old hammer. Stand on that and give it a whack. It's going. It's getting wrapped around. There's a ridge in the floor there, so not much you can do about that. I'm just going to bang around it. I just use the big rubber hammer to bang it in, and then I'll use the other hammer to fix it. But I want to, and I think when I make this one, I'm going to come down and overlap this again and tie it. That way this ties back into this. I could just butt weld it, but I think on a floor. You don't need to be butt welding. You can just, it's all going to be covered up anyway, and just gives it more strength. So that's the plan. All right, so that's what I got there so far. Got that tied in, bent around. Bent around, not too bad. There's a rib in the floor there, so I just bent around it. Yeah, so now I'm gonna try to make this piece up in here, and we'll go from there. So to get this angle, I just keep putting this paper in and cutting it the size and trim it, and that should be pretty good right there where I need it. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That'll just be my, so I'll trace that onto here like that, like so, and that should fit in there. And I can start bending it around, tacking and bending. All right, so get this all tacked in. I got this piece made, trimmed it where it fits pretty good. Got it trimmed in there where it fits pretty good. So what I'm gonna do is start pushing it into place, push tack, you know, push tack, hold it down until I can form it around and see where I can bend it. Hopefully I bend it as, I'm gonna have to cut a bunch. This is way too long, so I'm gonna trim some off, but just to get it in here for now, I'm gonna start tacking it and then I'll trim as I go. So that's what we got so far. It's gonna look ugly, but it's gonna be strong. I'll start slicing this along here so I can get this to wrap over like I did here. Hopefully. Yeah, and then I can weld it in along there. I'm gonna cut it probably right here all the way, and then we'll see what happens. All right, so I trimmed some off. See, or I may have to put a slit in it, but we'll see. Keep hitting my light, that's not good. Well, kind of worked. Got a little bubble here. So I'll bend this down around and tack it. And then I'll try to, I'm going to clean up some area here to weld to first, and then I'm going to start bending this around, tacking it, holding it as I'm bending it so it doesn't bubble back up, hopefully. Alright, so that's what I've come up with for now. There is a small spot there. This retains the back seat, so I don't want to move this. So I'm just going to patch around this. There's a small hole right there. So, and there's a few small holes there and there. So I think I'm just going to cut small patches out because I don't, like I said, I don't want to lose that retainer because I won't get it back in the right spot, guaranteed. But it's coming along. That's the front. I do have to put small patches around. I didn't want to lose the seat holes as well. So a few small patches around there. Around there and there. That'll be simple. I did tie in this corner here. So what I'll do, once I get all these patches in, then I'll start welding it up more. I'll go around, spot, all the way around each patch. Keep going around so it doesn't get too hot. Not that it matters, warping in here because it's all beat up anyway, but it's just the way I'm gonna do it. So, and then that'll be this side. Everything will be tied back in and it'll be pretty good. So, yeah. I'm happy with that. It's definitely solid because it was way thicker metal. 16 gauge. And that didn't turn out horrible, I guess. I just warped it back down around with a big hammer. Like I said, this is going to either be box linered or rock guarded or something. Who knows? But yeah, I might even just fiberglass the whole thing and then throw some carpet over it, but we'll see. So yeah, just a couple of little more patches and this side will be done. And then move on to the other side, which is probably the same. Same or maybe worse, I don't know. What does it look like over there? There's a big hole back there. I'll have to take that panel out and get it around the seat belt again. Front's pretty, have to be all cut out like I did this side. But yeah, all in all, it's coming along. Alright, thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, and I hope everyone's having a great day. It's pretty, we got a good dumping of snow out here today. So, it's chilly in the barn, but I'm working away. Alright, have a good one.